Hey everybody, hope you're doing well today. We are going to work on slides, hammer-ons, and pull-offs. And you may be saying, I know how to do slides, hammer-ons, and pull-offs, but did you know there's a whole bunch of different ways to do each one of those? So we're going to talk about that. It's like flavor. You're adding a little bit of flavor to anything you play when you do an embellishment like that, okay? So there's different flavors of embellishments. So you got a slide, right? That was a long one. From 2 to 5. Now, could you tell the difference there? So what I did there was I just changed when I slid in relation to when I hit the note. So let's go from 4 to 5 here. I'm letting the note ring out for a little bit of time at the 4th fret before I make the slide. Then I'll do it really quick. Do you notice the difference? You're thinking, what? This isn't that big of a deal, but it really is. You can really change the flavor of your song by doing these things. You can do this quick slide. You can do a slow slide or a delayed slide. And there's other things you can do as well, okay? So that's kind of a slide. You know, that's just a couple of ways to do a slide. Now let's talk about a hammer-on. A hammer-on, you can do 2 different ways also. So you can hammer onto the string, I guess 3 different ways. You can hammer onto the string from an open string. There's the first string there's the second string 1st fret. You can hammer on that way. You can hammer on from a note that you've already pressed down to another note. Okay? You can also hammer on doing an alternate string hammer on, okay? So I'm playing the 2nd string 1st fret, but I hammer on at the 3rd string 2nd fret. It makes sort of an, I'm sure there's a term for it. Just another tone happening while you're playing something. See how I did that? There's things you can do like that, okay? So that was just a hammer-on, and I'm not plucking that note at all. The pluck is the hammer-on itself. So you don't have to hit that note to make a hammer-on ring out, okay? That's the same thing with a pull-off, all right? So a pull-off, you know, you ring out the note you've pressed down, and you drag the note and pull it off. You can also do that as a hammer-on pull-off, as a double pull-off, okay? And you can also obviously combine them all. So I want you to understand that all these little things add spice to your playing, all right? So you need, you know, you're learning a lot of songs and all that, and sometimes you get caught up in learning songs, and you just want to keep on learning and keep on learning, and what happens is you never really play in a song that you really live in, and you should be living in a song and really getting familiar with it, playing it a bunch of different ways, you know, playing just the chords, playing a break melody note version of it, maybe 2 different ones, one here, one up the neck a little bit. There's all kinds of stuff you can do, right? But in addition to that, you need to be adding some of these little spices to it, right? So you need to be finding little spots where you can just do a quick slide, do a quick hammer-on. Anytime you're chording, that is a perfect opportunity to hammer the whole chord or part of the chord on. There's a D7 that I just hammered on. Or you could put part of the chord down and hammer on just a piece of it. So there's all all sorts of ways you can just add spice to anything you're doing. And I want you to think about that. Now, I'm not giving you any tabs for this because this is more of just an overall theme, all right? So take whatever song you're working on right now. Stop. Do not try to learn a new song. Take the song you're working on right this second and get that thing flavored up good, all right? So there's really a balance to embellishments. You can have too many, I think. There's people with different opinions on this, of course. But you can have too many. I think if you lose the melody of the song, you're getting into trouble there. I like to hear the melody of the song. Me personally, when I hear a solo banjo playing, if there's just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of notes, you can lose the melody. And I think it's important to maintain the melody. Now, in a solo performance where you play through the melody and then you start adding to the melody by adding a bunch of notes, that's different, okay? So, but I want you to get away from the tab and just make the song your own. Add some flavor to it, okay? Make sure you still have the melody though. So every single time you put a fret down, you're not doing an embellishment. It's just a balance, right? You can have too much salt on your food, too much pepper. You just want the right amount. And the way to learn how to do that is to just do it. It's not something that can really be taught. Because first of all, it's very subjective. It's what you like the sound of, that you're going to want to do. So if you hear a player playing and they are just putting tons of spice in there, and you really love that, well then do that, okay? All right, and let's talk about another one, a bend. You hear that? Bends can be really cool. I'm bending to that third fret there at the second fret. So I'm bending to that third note instead of like a slide. I'm bending to it. So bends are another great thing to use. So I just want you to listen to this C to G transition. All right, so I want you to listen to this transition and see what you think about it. So what I did there was I'm doing a baby C here. So I'm doing a baby C here. But what I'm doing to embellish it is I'm doing a hammer and pull off. And a hammer on pull off is a really good thing. You can add it and really spice things up. And you got to work with it. It's just a quick light touch for a hammer on pull off. But it'll help, right? It'll make things sound really cool. All right, here's another one. Oftentimes when I'm doing a C, I will come down here, one string to the third string, second fret, and do that to go back to G. So I'm going. It's a really cool transition, and I'm just using a couple of pull-offs there. But it's cool sounding, isn't it? That's something you can do. And you can do this on any sort of transition you want to do. Okay, and then of course we've got the B part of Shady Grove where I do a bunch of cool stuff. I do a double pull off. Also do a hammer on. I do the cool thing there is you've got to ring out the 5th fret of the 1st string, then a hammer on at the 3rd. got to be timed just right. So with a lot of these embellishments, your timing really matters as well. Keep that in mind. I hope that you got something out of this. Hope you enjoyed it. And before I go, I always want to remind you that Jesus loves you. Bye-bye, y'all.